Raider Nation, it's Chiefs week, and if all you could do on this video is spam FKC, there is nothing that is going to make me happier. I don't want 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. I want you to pretend that you're back at the Oakland Coliseum, and you see a Chiefs fan walking by you. I want nothing but FKCs down below. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Reporter. Coming up on today's show, I'm going to be doing a little preview here with the Las Vegas Raiders going up against their division rival, the Kansas City Chiefs. And near the end of the show, I'm going to give you my score prediction. I'm going to give you some keys to victory. And then we are also going to be looking at the NFL playoff picture. So as it stands right now, Kansas City 7-3, coming off a tough loss on Monday Night Football to the Philadelphia Eagles on a short week, going up against the Raiders at home with Antonio Pierce. Now, to make sure that you guys don't miss our watch party, Jeremy Chuggs and I, we're going to be live Sunday, and I need you to be there. Tailgate party, got a special surprise for some of the OG Raiders Report watchers. All I'm going to say is anything is possible. Subscribe, join our Raiders vs. Chiefs watch party, because in the years that I've done this show, the biggest, the wildest, the craziest shows that we have done for game day is usually against Kansas City. So if you missed the Oakland tailgate days, you better pull up. The only way that you'll make sure that you remember, subscribe, turn on those noties. All right, so first off, we're going to go on the offensive side of the football here. I'm going to be breaking down some keys that the Raiders need to do if they want to beat Andy Reid and company. The first one is kind of simple, and if you watch me just mentally break down after the Raiders lost against Miami, this one probably doesn't surprise you all that much. I need a more exciting offense, right? I want to watch an offense that gives me chills. I want to watch an offense that when I stand up, I got to make sure that nobody's around looking at me because I got to tuck it in my waistband type of offense. Because the offense that the Raiders have been running with Bo Hardegree, it's been boring. It's been stale. And I know Antonio Pierce said that they don't want to put too much pressure on Aidan. And, they don't want to do too much because he's a rookie quarterback. I hear you. I know that he's a rookie, and I know that he's going to play like a rookie, but you're not beating the Kansas City Chiefs. You're not going to win on a consistent basis in the NFL if you don't put out a solid product out there on the field. So everybody, I need a more exciting offense. The next thing that the Raiders just absolutely positively need to do, you got to protect Aidan O'Connell. It does sound like Colt Miller is trending in the right direction and should be able to play up against the Chiefs, which is obviously a major, major thing, because this season, when teams have gotten after Aidan, he's struggled, like most quarterbacks struggle when you get pressure in their face. But in the 4 games that O'Connell has started this season, when the Raiders have won those 2 games, he's been sacked 3 times, all against the Jets. And the games that the Raiders have lost, you're looking at the Chargers game, and then you're looking at this past week against the Dolphins. He's been sacked 9 times. I know I'm not trying to sit up here and act like this is anything that's that hard to imagine. But when you protect your rookie quarterback, when you give him time to throw, and he can sit back there and make the proper reads because he's a little bit slow making his reads, that's a big, big difference. And going up against a tough defense like the Chiefs that are 3rd in the NFL right now in sacks, you better protect AOC. Let's go to the next one here. You got to get Josh Jacobs going. I was very frustrated last week. The first 10 plays for the Raiders on offense, 8 passing plays, 2 rushing plays with Jacobs. That can't be the recipe for success. I know that Miami's got a great offense. I know that Kansas City, they're not playing as well as what Miami did last week. But the more and more you can keep Jacobs in this offense on the field, that means that Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid are sitting their asses on the bench. And another way to protect your rookie, another way to make sure that defenders aren't pinning their ears back and just getting after your quarterback, run the damn ball. Get physical. And here's another one. It's not rocket science. When the Raiders have fed their workhorse running back this season, they have won football games. And 5 wins compared to 6 losses. These are the splits for Josh Jacobs. 117 carries to 83. Again, it is 1 less game, but look at the amount of production that Jacobs is getting, that the Raiders are getting when they win football games. It is not that difficult. Teams can't box or can't stack the box, and then that opens it up for everybody. And I know that, yeah, when the Raiders get a lead, they're able to lean on Jacobs a little bit more. That's fine. I get the numbers behind it. But it's early in the game. Get the running game going. Start beating them up, because then it starts paying off in the third and then the fourth quarter. Here's the next one. You can't miss the big plays. I think one of the reasons why I was so frustrated with Aidan O'Connell after their loss to the Dolphins was the amount of throws he just flat out missed. Like, I can sit up here and I can say that Bo Hardegree's the offense was plain, it was stale, it was vanilla. It was. But a good NFL quarterback, a starting caliber quarterback, cannot miss the amount of throws, cannot miss the amount of reads, cannot take the amount of sacks, cannot turn the football over the amount that Aidan did. Did Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey have hell of a game? Yes. Did the Miami Dolphins defense play well? Yeah, no doubt about it. But I'm big on, I don't care if you're a rookie. If you're starting in the NFL and there are easy throws out there to be had, you got to take advantage of those easy throws, because if you miss on them again, you're not beating Kansas City. There's no way that it's going to happen. I got one more here key for the Las Vegas Raiders on the offensive side of the football, and it's another one. Jeremy's behind the screen going like this, and it's one that needs to happen. No interceptions. No turnovers. I'm going to lose my mind here. The fact that the Raiders have played 11 games this season. They have played in 11 games this season and have an interception in 10 out of the 11 games this year. The only game that the Raiders don't have an interception, guess what? They won. And I know that the Raiders defense is playing a lot better. They're playing a lot better, man. They deserve so much credit for how well this team has played. I see down in the comments, Senior says more trick plays. I'm down with more trick plays. But the Raiders are dead last in interceptions, and it's not close. 17 picks for the Silver and Black. Then it's 31 with the Cleveland Browns, who have been dealing with a lot of quarterback problems themselves. And then it's number 12 with the Buffalo Bills and Chicago Bears. Washington Commanders at 12. And then, oh, wow, look at that. Kansas City sitting there at number 11. So, again, here are my 5 offensive keys for the Raiders offense if they want to beat the Chiefs. You got to have a more exciting offense with Bo Hardegree. I don't want to see a stale offense. If you have an opportunity to put up points, you got to do it. I'm not trying to go for field goals. I'm going for touchdowns. Protect Aidan. The way to protect him, get Josh Jacobs going. You can't miss on the big plays. You got to take advantage of the gimmies. If it's 3rd and 1, if it's 4th and 1, pick up those yards. Don't go for the deep ball. If Devontae Adams beats his guy and you have a shot to get him, take advantage of it. Aidan, you got to be better this week. And then, no interceptions. If you do all these things and the Raiders defense plays the way that they've been playing, the Raiders will beat the Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday. Now, I do got to show some love to today's sponsor, Factor. And Factor Meals, man, during the holiday season is saving my behind. Because I don't know if you're like me, when the holidays come, I get stressed out. And I'm a busy guy. And this holiday season, you might be looking for nutritious, convenient meals to keep you energized on jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, can help you fuel up fast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. With chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle while tackling all your holiday to-dos. Skip the stress of meal prepping over the holidays with Factor. Choose from 35-plus weekly flavor-packed, fresh, never frozen meals that support a healthy lifestyle and meet your meal preferences, all delivered right to your door and ready to eat in 2 minutes. Head to factormeals.com/RaidersChat50 and use code RaidersChat50 to get 50% off. That's code RaidersChat50 at factormeals.com/RaidersChat50 to get 50% off. If anybody can't remember those links, or if you're looking for a spot to find them, they're going to be down in the comments. They're going to be down in the description. Factor's so good that even my mom would recommend it. Factor's so good, hell, I bet my grandmother would recommend it. And you know what? I bet you Sherry Lynn would also recommend Factor. Those are 3 people that I think we can all can trust. All right, let's keep it moving here on the show. 5 defensive keys going up against Kansas City. Talked about the offense. Let's get into the defense here. I want the Raiders to get physical with Kansas City's wide receivers. The Chiefs might have the worst wide receiver room in the entire league, and this is a wide receiver unit that is built on speed. They have drop problems, and they are not physical at all. Also, Kadarius Toney, that's a super scary picture. I'm not going to lie to you. But with Tony, get up there, hit him a little bit. Marcus Valdes-Scantling, get up there, hit him a little bit. Sky Moore, undersized, hit him a little bit. Rashee Rice, yes, he's big, but he's lean. I want the Raiders to get up near the line of scrimmage, and I want them to hit some people, because what I don't want is them to play soft, because if those receivers do catch the football, it can turn into a big play. You are the more talented team, which I have not been able to say for a very long time, considering the Raiders' defense and the Chiefs' offense. But the way that their safeties, corners, linebackers stack up, hit them. Get in their face. The other way to do it is to stop Travis Kelce. Box in one on Travis Kelce. Do everything that you can to make sure that he doesn't catch the football. If you look at what the Eagles did last night on Monday Night Football, guess what they did? They made sure that Kelce couldn't catch the ball. Now, I get it. He had a touchdown. But when you see defenses double team, hell, even triple team Kelce, they're hitting him at the line. They're bracket covering him. They're saying, you know what, Mahomes? Throw it to somebody else. I need you to throw it to somebody else. And if you take away Kelce, this Chiefs offense has struggled now for 3 straight weeks. The other reason why I need you to stop is because Kelce has absolutely feasted against the Raiders in his career. In 18 games against the Silver and Black, 100 catches, 1,289 yards, and 11 touchdowns. And a lot of that damage has come in recent season. Hell, Kelce had a game last year with not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. 4 receiving touchdowns. That simply can't happen. This season, though, in terms of the Chiefs, right? And Kelce stats and wins, when the Chiefs win football games, Kelce is averaging 7.3 receptions for 77 yards, which is an average of 10.6 yards per reception. He's averaging about 0.57 touchdowns per game, no fumbles. In the losses this season, 4.3 receptions, 34 yards, an average of 7.8, 0.33 touchdowns, and a fumble. It's not rocket science. With how bad the Chiefs' wide receivers are, if you take away Travis Kelce and you make them beat you with somebody else, they have struggled. Why? Because they don't have nearly as much talent as what they have had in years past. Let's go to the next one here, forced turnovers. If the Raiders are going to take advantage of their struggling offense, sometimes the defense has got to bail them out. And I know the Raiders' defense last week technically forced 4 turnovers, 3 actual, and then a turnover on downs. And sometimes, that's what you got to do. You got to figure out a way to force turnovers, because this season the Chiefs have turned the football over quite a bit. And if you put yourself in these short field situations, it's going to lead to points. Where last week, the Raiders were afraid to kick field goals because they felt like they were always chasing points. Let's do the reverse now. Let's get ourselves a nice early lead. Let's keep that lead. And if we need to kick field goals, I don't want field goals, I want touchdowns. But if you can force some turnovers and really fluster Mahomes, good stuff's going to be coming. Let's go to the next one here. I want to pressure the offensive tackles. The overall Chiefs offensive line is one of the better offensive line units in the league, but that's because of their guard and center play. The Chiefs' interior offensive line, I'll say it, probably the best interior offensive line in all of football, with Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith. They have played phenomenal football. This is according to PFF, but Donovan Smith, Jawan Taylor, both on the outside as left tackle and right tackle. This is where the Raiders got to get after him. If you're going to bring a blitz, target Jawan Taylor. If you're going to bring a blitz, go after Donovan Smith. I don't want interior blitzes. Now, maybe once in a while, sure, go for it. But let's get Malcolm Kuntz going. Let's get Tyree Wilson going. Let's get one-on-one Max Crosby, Jawan Taylor. That is a matchup that Kansas City wants no part of. My point is this. If you're going to blitz, just hypothetically speaking, 10 times against Kansas City, I want 9 of them to be, let's put a tackle in a tough spot. Let's make one of their bad offensive tackles make a decision, because when teams have blitzed the interior of Kansas City, it hasn't worked because of how well those guys have played up the middle. I still got a few more keys here, but remember, I always got to show some love to the Noti Gang. If you're like, Mitch, what the hell is the Noti Gang? Noti Gang is people who are subscribed and have turned on their notification bell. So every time I drop a video, they take a lot of pride in trying to be one of the very first people to comment on that video. So the video that I dropped on November 21st, shout out to Willie Gutierrez, shout out to BO3, Herschel Allen, and Matt R. If you want to find your name here on a show, subscribe, notifications, try to be one of the very first people to comment. Type Noti Gang. That way I know you're a part of the group. Let's go to the last one here. It's limit Mahomes' big plays. I always make this reference because it still haunts my dreams when the Raiders gave up 28 points to Mahomes, the final year in Oakland. It was 4 touchdowns, 278 passing yards, all in the second quarter. And it was big play after big play after big play. It was heartbreaking to watch. I mean, it was tough. I'm pretty sure that's why Demarcus Robinson got the contract that he did from the Raiders. But it's besides the point. My point here is this. The Chiefs don't have a good enough offense this season to beat you over and over and over again if you make them dink and dunk their way down the field, which is what Patrick Graham tries to do. Also, from a numbers standpoint, in wins, Patrick Mahomes, 71.6% completion percentage compared to the losses this season at 57.5. The passing yards per game, look at the passing yards per game. Hell, look at the yards per completion, 7.7 in wins, 5.4 in losses. When you make Mahomes and this offense do 10, 11, 12 play drives this season, they have not been able to show, especially recently, that they have the ability to do it. When they get a big chunk play because teams don't pressure their receivers and they don't get up into the face of them, that's when you see this Chiefs team struggle. So the bottom line is this. Get in their face, pressure them, don't allow the big play. If you're going to allow Mahomes dinking and dunking his way down the field, the Raiders will have success. I don't know how often you're going to be able to hit Mahomes, but if you can pressure him, you can get after him, you can force some turnovers, it's going to be a good recipe for success for the Silver and Black. All right, we're going to keep looking here. Week 12 matchup. The Chiefs are 10-point favorites. Last week, Miami was a 14-point favorite. That over-under, I believe, was also 45.5. I like when the Raiders are underdogs. I want the Raiders to be underdogs. The Raiders had the extra day of rest, which I do think helps you out a lot. Kansas City coming off a tough Monday Night Football game, which if you want to play a team after the Eagles are going to beat you up. The Eagles are a tough team to play. Short week coming up after the Eagles. I would love to know what that stat is. It's not an easy one, though. So what I want you guys to do after seeing the Raiders are 10-point underdogs, 45 over-under, what's the score prediction? Are the Raiders going to come out with a dub? Is Kansas City going to come away with a dub? The way that I do this show is this. I'm always an honest person, right? But sometimes you got to bend the rules a little bit. And when it's Chiefs week, I'm going to bend the rules. So give me the Raiders to win this game. I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring, 24-23, last-second field goal by Daniel Carlson. As it stands right now, this is the AFC playoff picture, and Kansas City was at number 1. But after a tough loss, they're going to drop down to number 2 here at 7-3. But as you can see, there's a lot of teams in the hunt. And I think for the first time in a long time, the AFC wildcard race is extremely up for grabs. I mean, you got the Cleveland Browns, who don't have Deshaun Watson, got a backup quarterback. The Houston Texans, they have a rookie quarterback. They've been looking pretty solid. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they just fired their offensive coordinator. Buffalo, I still think, ends up finding a way to get in. Indianapolis, I don't know what they're doing. Heck, they just released Shaq Leonard. Then the Bengals, they don't have Joe Burrow. The Raiders have been able to beat Denver. There are so many unknowns for this AFC playoff picture. And to me, I am still going to say that, yes, the Raiders have a chance to make the playoffs. They absolutely have a chance. And they control their own destiny, which is exactly what you want the Raiders to do. If the Raiders win 4 out of their final 6 games, they have a chance. It's not a great probability, but they have a chance. If you win 5 out of your next 6, you're basically in for a lock. And the reason why they're in for a lock is because of the remaining schedule. You're going up against all these AFC teams, right? Kansas City twice, Chargers, AFC team, Colts, Broncos, AFC. In fact, the game that if you're going to lose one is Week 14 against Minnesota. If you told me, Mitch, give me one game the Raiders can lose, it's Week 14 against Minnesota, because that's the game that is the least important for the remainder of the season here for the Silver and Black. I know it's not a high probability at 5-6, but I believe in Antonio Pierce. I believe in this Raiders team from top to bottom. Can they get better? Of course they can. Was I frustrated last week? Of course I was. We were all frustrated because that was a very, very winnable game. You want to shut me up? You want to shut up everybody that was upset after the Dolphins loss? Go take care of business this week against the Kansas City Chiefs.